Hey guys, Sean Terry here, flip2freedom.com. Hope you're doing well. All right, now in this video, I want to talk about the pros and cons of wholesaling houses. We're going to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to doing this business. I've been doing it now for the past 19 years, and I have literally seen everything, and I'm going to break it down in this video. So if you're ready, let's get started.
I can't take no loss. Yeah, I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground and it go off. Yeah, hit the ground and it go off. Yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my.
All right, so the good, the bad, and the ugly of wholesaling houses. So first off, you got to look at it and first understand that this is a business like any other business. So we could decide to do another business, or we could do this. So we have to treat it and understand that is a business. Now, with a business, there is P&Ls, right? Profit and loss. Now, we got to look at, obviously all the costs and the profit that we can make from it. Now, to give you an idea, I have a friend of mine who's a neighbor, and he owns two different businesses. He owns a granite fabrication company. He also owns a local bar. It's actually a pretty high-end bar, very busy, does a ton of business. And his profit margins on average is about anywhere from 12 to 15%. On the granite fabrication, it's about 12%. On the bar, it's a little bit higher than 15%. So 15%. Right. So if you do $1 million in revenue to the bottom line, you'll make about $150,000, which that is a great business. I have another friend of mine that runs a $200 million construction company, and he operates at about a 10% profit margin. In some jobs, he gets squeezed down to nothing, where he's making 4 to 5% on a deal. In some deals, he does pretty well, but that is their average profit margin when they look at it. So I have another friend of mine who works for a $1 billion elevator company, and they're running on a really thin margin, like about a 5% margin. So they have this huge business doing billions of dollars of elevator installation, new construction, also servicing elevators. And we're talking about a 5% margin that they're running on. Not a lot of room for error. So what if we, now look at wholesaling? Now, if structured correctly, and if managed correctly when it comes to your cost per lead and your hiring structure and your payroll, you can run this business on a 40 to 60% margin, right? A 40 to 60% margin. We have a gentleman in our mastermind group that has a whole team of virtual assistants that he pays anywhere from $8 to $9 an hour. He's taught them how to talk to sellers, make offers, get properties under contract. He does obviously the marketing side of it. Cost per lead is roughly about $80 to $100. And he's running a business where he's about 75 to 80% to the bottom line, right? So think about that. It's amazing. Now, you also can run wholesaling houses if it's not managed like a business at negative. You can actually lose money as a real estate wholesaler doing this business. And there was a time in my career in 19 years where I got crushed because I wasn't running it like a business, and I wasn't managing the P&Ls tightly. I wasn't managing my numbers tightly. I was just throwing money at everything, at different marketing and hiring and doing this and that, seeing what was working and not managing. At the end of the year, I'm like, holy cow, what the heck is going on? Because I got crushed. So the bottom line is that you have to treat it like a business. And you have to look at the difference, between that and whether you do or do not. So now when it comes about, let's talk about operational. So my friend that runs the bar, is obviously profitable and does well. He opens up at 3 and it closes around, 12 or 1 o'clock at night. For lifestyle reasons, he has to be there. Now, he could hire someone to manage the bar, but there's a lot of, you're cashing out. There's a lot of cash is being dealt with. And there's a lot of trust factor that needs to happen. So he goes in at 3 and he gets out at 10 every single night except Sunday. He also runs that fabrication business where, again, if you don't manage it tightly, you know what? Your numbers, you're going to find yourself in a negative situation. When it comes to my friend who is doing, jobs for a $200 million construction company, there is massive amount of risk. He has to hold a bond, well over $1 million just in a bond, just in case there's some default situation, and he has to bond every single project. Now, and then managing the subs, and then also managing the cost of goods, to get these construction jobs done. And with the delay of everything, he says, just absolutely insane. So the stress, because the owner of the property is sitting on loan, and the longer it takes, they're paying more and more interest, and they're not being able to generate revenue. So there's massive amounts of pressure to get the job done and get it quickly, and to keep it on budget, which is literally almost virtually impossible in this crazy environment that we're in right now. So the stress on it is just absolutely insane, and the risk factor is really high because of the amount of money needed to be put out in bonds, and then paying all the subs and everything like that. So, and then you look at this business, and you could essentially make more money than a $200 million business doing this business, running at a, 50, 60, 70, 80% margin. And that all depends on your structure, your cost per lead, structure and payroll, and your cost per lead, and then how you manage other expenses in your business. So let's talk about it real quick. And the most important things as a real estate wholesaler to run highly profitable business. Now, first off, I would say wholesaling houses is an incredible business because, like, for an example, you can set up the operation, have incredible people, because you're doing the same thing pretty much every single day. Your marketing calls are coming in, your sellers, you're being talked to over the phone, getting properties under contract, selling the properties, and we do deals nationwide, selling the properties nationwide. And it's like a McDonald's, right? When I talk to my team, our goal is to create a McDonald's and do repetitive things really well over and over and over and over again, and get some really good people to do those repetitive things over and over and over again. And the more people you can add, I'll talk about the cons of that as well, and the cons of wholesaling. But the people you can add to the business will just help expand how much revenue you can actually produce, which in essence gives you a larger number to the bottom line. So now let's talk about structure first. I'm going to give you some cons about wholesaling houses, and what is the hard part I don't like about wholesaling houses. So first off, structure to be highly profitable, right? First off, number one, we've got to get a cost per lead around $100. Okay. $100 cost per lead is a good baseline number, that if you can generate leads at $100 cost per lead, and I'm talking direct mail, and I'm talking a blended cost per lead. I'm talking direct mail. I'm talking any online where you buy leads online. I'm talking Google AdWords. I'm talking Bing, maybe TV advertising. So I'm talking a blended cost per lead. Around $100 is a good target number. The second thing is your payroll. Payroll structure is incredibly important. You could hire all VAs, virtual assistants, and pay $8 to $10 an hour, and maybe a 2% commission. To get really good people local, you're going to have to pay more when it comes to your payroll structure. So my payroll structure is fairly high, and I have really, really good, awesome people. But mine is about, with the whole team, is about 25%. So 25%, total commission payout, excluding any type of payroll overhead. And that 25%, obviously you got payroll tax on that. All my whole entire team is W-2. They're not 1099. So the bottom line is I have a large payroll structure that you could, and if I was going to do it over, I'd probably thin it down just a little bit and put and we do this in our mastermind, in Syndicate 9 Mastermind. We essentially, we built the perfect payroll structure when it comes to hiring local and mixing those with virtual assistants. And the way that payroll structure is done, it allows you to run at about a 55 to 60% margin, doing tens of millions of dollars in revenue. All right, so the bottom line is that payroll structure is incredibly important. The two biggest P&L items that you're going to have is going to be marketing, and it's going to be payroll. So if you can keep the marketing intact and keep that payroll intact, then you will do incredibly well. Now you can just press and then be able to hire people. And the more people you have, the more sales rep you have, the more revenue you're going to generate. So here's the thing. Let's say you want to do $1 million in revenue, right? And you want to have a team of people. You're going to need someone that's going to be transaction coordination / dispo. Those could be one person if you want to do $1 million in revenue. You need someone that's going to do acquisitions, right? And you need someone that's going to do, for transaction coordination, dispo. What we do is we have our disposition list properties on the MLS. They're taking the inbound calls. They're scheduling appointments with the seller to get people to go through the properties. And then obviously we got transaction coordination is handling all the part of the transaction. So that's one department. The next department is acquisitions. And then that department is all about answering the phone, talking to the seller, reaching out to leads, getting deals under contract. Now, an average sales rep does roughly about $500,000 a year. An above average sales rep does about $1 million plus, and an exceeding sales rep will do 1.2 to 1.5 million a year in revenue. So if you base upon average, right? Now, obviously I don't like average, don't like hiring average, but if you're trying to project numbers, you need essentially two people that are doing $500,000 a year in revenue, that are a disposition person that's also going to do transaction coordination, and then someone that's obviously going to manage marketing, which would be you. Then that is $1 million a year business where you could run it at a 50% margin. So that means you would bring anywhere from 500,000 plus directly to the bottom line if managed and the payroll structure is correct and your marketing is in line. Okay. Now I'm talking you have anywhere from a 5 to 6% when it comes to other overhead, like for your software, your CRM, or for maybe if you have an office space or something like that. But the bottom line is that is that is $1 million business. So how do you take it from $1 million to 5 million? Well, you just got to do the math, right? You got to if everybody is doing 500,000 in revenue, if it takes each rep to do 500,000, you're going to have an exceptional rep that's going to do $1 million, $1.2 million, whatever. But let's say if you base it on 500,000, and you have, have 5 reps, that's 2.5 million. 10 reps is $5 million in revenue. So now you have 10 reps. Now you're going to have a separate, and we have a separate transaction coordinator. She handles all the transactions. And then also too, we have, you'll have to probably bring on another disposition, someone that's going to help with the listings, help with the booking of appointments and handling those contracts and everything. So a business is doing 5 million in revenue. You could have 10 reps all doing 500,000, and you can have to say dispo and a transaction coordinator, and you can run an operation where you're at $5 million and you are bringing home essentially $2.5+ million straight to the bottom line. Now, I can tell you, let's talk about the cons. That's the rosy bushes. That's like everything. It's like everything's, it's like great, right? And I got this awesome team, and they're cranking, and they're this, that, and the other. Well, let's look at the negative side of it, or the, the cons of it. Well, first off is cost per lead to keep really dialed into $100 is extremely difficult. You're managing your Google AdWords campaigns, right? That means you want to manage it yourself and understand it and know it so you can tweak the campaigns. You don't want to pay some company that's going to be doing it and they're going to charge a fee on top of it, which is going to increase your cost per lead. So you really got to understand those Google AdWords and what makes Google AdWords and Bing and pay-per-click advertising make those tick. Right? That's one thing. So keeping your lead at $100 is incredibly difficult in this business. Now, that's one. The next thing is having your reps, right? Hiring good, incredible people that are self-motivated, that are going to be on the phone all day long. Meaning they have to have over the phone experience, be closers, talk to sellers, build rapport, and work with them to get those properties under contract. So there's an incredible important metric when it comes to managing your sales reps. And the number one metric that impacts your bottom line is what's called a leads per deal, right? So I watch that so close, because we're going to have, let's say you have 5 reps, or 10 reps, and you're going to have one rep that's basically at, we have one rep right now that's at 16 leads per deal. And I have another rep that's at 50 leads per deal, right? That's a massive difference. And if you take 50 and you project it over 12 months, leads per deal at $100 cost per lead, your profitability completely changes, and then you're going to have one rep that's $16. I have another rep that's $23 cost per lead. The good number is about 30. 30 is a good target number, leads per deal. And that's how many leads it takes to actually get a contract signed, not closed, but signed. Right? And when you're talking about leads, that's all leads, even spam leads, even listed leads, even wholesaler leads, even out of area leads, even leads that just, are suck. You have to take all leads, because that's the only thing from a marketing perspective you can control. You can control the amount of leads generated. Now, we do look at the viability percentage, and that viability percentage should be around 60+%. But if you keep it around 60% and you have those leads, and those leads per deal, you keep around 30, then you have a problem. But again, that you have to manage, and you've got to know your numbers. See, if you're doing this solo and you're out there and you're taking the calls and you get a $20,000 deal and you spent maybe, $2,000 or $3,000 in marketing, hey, this is a great business. But if you want to scale it to a level to where and keep a 50% profit margin, or more, right? Then you really have to dial in those numbers, and you've got to be able to watch your team. And what happens now if you have someone at 50 leads per deal, right? What do? That's when you have to manage and you have to work with them to become better. Now, either they're putting in the effort or they're not, right? We got to be able to track that. We track with all of our sales rep, we track how many calls they make on a weekly basis. What is their talk time? What is their quality conversations, right? And then from quality conversations, how many contracts did they get signed? And then how much revenue did they close? So guess what? That's essentially, it starts with the bottom with the calls, and then goes up to the talk time, then up to the quality conversation. So if they're having a lot of quality conversations, but they're not getting contracts, guess what? We're going to listen to calls. If they're not making the dials, then that's the effort. They got to get on the phone. They got to start making the dials. So we track that on a weekly basis. I can tell you like that, who's working, who's not working, and why, and be able to hone that in. So now we have the ability to hire. And when we hire, we can know if someone within the first 2 weeks are going to cut it or they're not, based upon their effort they're putting in the business. So again, if you have to manage it. Now, the great thing about this is, you can manage it from afar, right? You can have your entire team remote. You don't need an office if you want. And you could have, you could run it via Zoom. So you can, for years, I had a beach house in Southern California. We sold in 2019, and I'm going to wait for the market to correct. I'm going to come in and swoop it back up for half the price. Well, probably not half the price, but anyway, so for reasons we sold the property, and my wife's sister lived there, and she actually came here and started working for me. So, you can't do VRBOs in the house, so bummer. Anyway, so we sold it, and for after owning it for like 15, 16 years. And the bottom line is I would go out there for a month every single year, and I'd run the business from the beach. I would run the entire business from the beach. And you can do that too as well. And it gives you the freedom to do what you want with who you want, when you want. But if you run it by the numbers and you got good team of people that are motivated, self-motivated to go out there and crush it, then you have an incredible business. There's nothing like this business where you can, really dial it in the marketing, dial in the numbers, and be able to press and add people onto your organization and grow it in a way and be able to do absolutely incredible. And then have the lifestyle along with it, which is amazing, right? When you work, you work. When when you're off, you get to be able to run your team and let your team go out there and crush it. So the good, the bad, the ugly. So probably when it comes to this business is that, the ugly is dialing it in. That is the hardest part, because like I said, it's easy to get marketing, get calls coming in, you're talking to sellers and then, okay, here we go, got a couple deals. I got 3 contracts. Good. We're going to be closing 2 this week. And oh my gosh, and I got made $40,000 and this is great. Let's go to Vegas. Right. But if you're going to scale it and you're going to scale it to millions of dollars in revenue, and you're going to hire people, that is where you got to get your P&L dialed in and you got to get your numbers dialed in. And if you do that, it is the best business in the world. So, all right. So if you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe button. Don't miss any of our future videos. You can hit the bell icon too, if you like. Now, if you want to learn how to do this business and you want to learn all the nuances when it comes to marketing, cost per lead, leads per deal, marketing metrics, tracking, hiring, we talk about hiring, how to hire right people, payroll structure, perfect payroll structure. When you have then all you gotta do is click the link. Actually, right here, right up there. Click the link up there, and you can register for one of our webinar classes that we've done. That we talk all about doing deals all across the entire country during this current real estate market right now and everything that's going on. So. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless.
I can't take no loss. Yeah, I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground and it go off. Yeah, hit the ground and it go off. Yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my. Yeah.